Welcome back to the welcome to the first video, the first episode, the first anything of what the fuck am I gonna call this. So yeah, I don't know, but I know the channel name is just gonna be my name. I'd like to welcome everybody into the channel. Anybody who sees this video, thank you. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. For my first video, I just kind of wanted to tell a story about a specific time when me, some buddies, some family, my girlfriend, we went out on a trip. So where this begins in reality, let me take you all back to December. And in December, we're having a good time. We're having a party, a Christmas party at my buddy's house. And he comes up to me and, you know, he says, hey, I gotta tell you something. And actually, this is my cousin's fiance, so it's their house, but he comes up to me and he's, you know, he's kind of shit-faced a little bit.
Why is there wrapping paper?
Because it's a present. Nobody wants it though.
And he's like, hey, I gotta tell you something, but you can't tell anybody. He's like, you can't tell anybody. And I'm like, okay. Like, he's never said anything to me like that before. And I'm like, all right. So what's there? He's like, you can't tell anybody. You can't tell, you know, this person. He starts naming off people I can't tell because he's a little bit wasted. So I was like, all right. Okay, so what is it? What is it? He's like, I got the ring. Like, I'm going to propose and I want you to be there. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. And then like, he like showed me a picture of it or whatever. And then all that. So that's a little flash forward or flashback, whatever you want to call it. So this leads me to around Valentine's Day. So basically we end up, he tells me like he's going to do it or whatever, right? And it's around Valentine's Day and we end up on a snowmobiling trip. Now I have a cabin, which you'll see a lot of. I have a cabin. We call it up north, whatever. So we go to his place, which is about an hour away from our place. And he wants to take a snowmobile trip. We have a bunch of people up there, a bunch of snowmobiles. Wants to take a snowmobile trip all the way from his place to our place, propose there, and then basically stay there or whatever, and then drive back the next day because it's about an 80-mile trip. And you know, so it's doable. It's a doable plan. So basically the day that we're supposed to leave comes and it ends up being like negative 30 degrees. I mean, we're in Wisconsin, so northern Wisconsin at this point, so negative 30-ish degrees. It's windy. We wake up trying to get the sleds running, trying to get them on trailers. Some of them don't have like carbides or whatever they're called on the bottom of the skis, so we're trying to replace some of those. One of them won't start. All kinds of stuff going on. Finally, we get everything situated, everybody set up. We pull out. We're taking the sleds down the road to hop on the trail and leave our cars and trailers literally on the side of the road. So mind you, this is my girlfriend's first time ever on a snowmobile, and the plan is to throw her into a 80-mile trip. So just keep that in mind as we move on. So we get everything situated. We're on the trail. Everybody's lined up. We're parking the cars. We're unloading the sleds. Everybody's ready to go. It's cold as shit. I put a GoPro on top of my helmet, and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna get some footage. I had like 10 batteries in my backpack. I had all my GoPro accessories and all that. I put it on top of my helmet, and I did realize that, you know, the batteries were going to keep dying like over and over and over again because it is negative 30. And if you've ever tried to operate a GoPro in negative 30 degrees, it doesn't last very long. And plus I have an older GoPro, so I need to get that fixed up soon. But anyway, so the lineup is basically everybody in front. The order doesn't really matter because at the end of the line, it's my girlfriend in front of me and then me in the back. because I need to like keep tabs on her so she doesn't fall behind, or like if we are behind, that's fine. You know, they said go at your own pace, like, you know, take your time, whatever, don't be rushed. So we start going down the trail, -30, everything's cold. Immediately I had my visor cracked on my helmet, on my snowmobiling helmet. Immediately it starts icing over on the inside. I'm looking through about a golf ball size hole, looking through my visor to see her. And then I notice something every time she hits a bump. Every single time she hits a bump, she's whiskey throttling. So she hits a bump and she grabs the handlebars tighter because she hits a bump, and then she whiskey throttles a little bit, and then she resituates, right? So I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna have to talk to her about that. We come up to the first stop. Everybody's waiting on us. We get there. Everything's fine. It's all good. So then, you know, they all take off and we go again. Everything's still fine for a while. She keeps whiskey throttling the bumps. I didn't get to talk to her at the stop. There's a lot going on. Everybody's got their helmets on. You can't hear over all the snowmobiles, all that. So we are going. Everything's fine. Still whiskey throttling. We're out in the open, and then we come into this turn, and then it turns back. And on the turn back, so it's like a double curve kind of. And on the turn back, she hits a bump, but she's also on a turn. So she whiskey throttles, hits the bump, whiskey throttles. And this time she does not like stop whiskey throttling. And it takes her a little bit off the trail. Now, just so you know, like these trails are all trees. Like everything is trees around you. Like there's probably not even enough room for a snowmobile to fit through, right? So she whiskey throttles, hits a bump, starts beelining it for the trees, whiskey throttling. I'm like, oh shit. Like in my head, I'm like, oh shit. Mind you, you would be seeing this right now, but this was only 2 miles in. This is only 2 miles in, but I had that oh shit moment, and I'm watching her, and everything goes a little bit slow motion. Her front right ski, it impacted a boulder or just a clear stump, but I think it was a boulder. Front right ski hits the boulder, right? Front right ski hits the boulder. This is a snowmobile. Front right ski hits the boulder. It flips forward. She does a front flip. Mind you, it's all trees, but this one corner was the only clearing that there was. And it's only us two in the back. So everybody else is long gone. And I'm just watching this unfold. Like, so she hits the boulder. She does a front flip with the sled. So she's going underneath. Sled's coming up over top of her. She launches with the sled into the little open area. The only area that was open on the entire trail, which was crazy because it was all trees, and it would have been so much worse if it was into the trees. So she's doing the front flip. Snowmobile's coming over on top of her, upside down, front flip. Think front flip. I don't know. You've never seen a snowmobile do a front flip, but let me tell you, front flip. So, she's doing this front flip. She lands in the powder. Sled lands on top of her. And I just stop, and I'm just looking at her like, oh my God. So I run up to her. She's like, her legs are under the sled. It's not running anymore. I run up to her, and I just flip the sled off immediately. I flipped the sled off of her. And then, she's like freaking out. She's kind of like hyperventilating. She's scared. She doesn't know what just happened. She's in shock a little bit. So her entire visor, like it was open, I guess. Probably because hers was icing up as well. And I start like, I had to like dig the snow out. And she's like, can you take my helmet off? Well, actually, the first thing I said was, you're fine. I said, you're fine. You're fine. Everything's fine. You're fine. You got to be like calm in these kind of situations for the other person. I was like, you're fine. I was just like, really light, like, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. And so as soon as I said, can you take my helmet off? Can you take I was like, no. It's like -30. You're fine. Just breathe. I got all the snow out. Just breathe. So she's like, okay, like she really wanted me to take her helmet off, but I didn't want to because it's so cold and you don't even want your hands out in there, or let alone your face. So she just needed to take some deep breaths and gather herself. So I was there, you know, helping her. Then I look over and I see the snowmobile. She's all situated. She's good now. She's calming down. She says she's all right. I told her she's all right, but she also says she's all right. And I see it and I look over. I'm like, you know, it's not even our snowmobile. It's the guy who's trying to propose to my cousin. So it's my friend who's trying to propose to my cousin because they're, you know, well, now they're engaged, but it's his sled and it's upside down and it's in pieces. I look over and I see it. I'm like, okay, so I flip it over right away and the windshield is broken off. The plastics are all messed up. And I look at it. I'm like, oh man. And I walk around it and I see something over in the snow. I'm like, what is that? That's another piece of it. Like, what is that? So I go over and I grab it. I pick it up and it's the ski. And the ski is snapped in half. And I was like, oh, dude, that's bad. That is really bad. So the ski is snapped in half. Everything else is fucked. I didn't know what to do at that point. So basically, I start putting the windshield back on. I get the snowmobile together, you know, I double check on her, make sure she's all right. And we wait. We just had to wait. So at this point, I had the snowmobile upright, everything like that. We waited out. And then the first person comes back, you know, they're trying to find where we are. They see us off trail. Are you okay? Are you okay? Yeah, we're okay. We're okay. What happened? She did a front flip. That's what happened. She did a front flip. Yeah, so she did a complete front flip. But she's all right. Snowmobile is possibly not all right. You know, more people come back. I got to tell everybody the story. She doesn't even really know what happened. And I realized that I had the GoPro on top of my head. And I was like, dude, we're only 2 miles into the trip. I didn't turn on the GoPro because I was like, it's only 2 miles. Like, I'll turn it on when I see something cool and we get going. I know the battery's not going to last long. I know my SD cards aren't going to last that long. Fuck, dude. I didn't turn on the GoPro. I would have had this perfect view of her whiskey throttle around the corner. Boom, boulder. Boom, front flip. I would have had it on film forever. And this video would have been a million times better watching her do it, as mean as it sounds. Oh, but it would have been great. But I didn't. So I just have this other footage of us just riding back. But basically, I just... man, I'm still regretting it, but... anyways, so... everybody finally gets back, and what we need to do now is figure out how we're going to get a sled that has one ski off the trail. So what we end up doing, we had to pop the belt off the sled. We had to hook it up to one of the buddies' nicer sleds, and we had to tow it down the trail. We get to the first bar, which is like a mile, 2 miles away, because we're only a mile or 2 miles in. We get to the first bar on the trail, pull it up in the driveway. You know, we get inside, we're talking to her. And she just said, like, you know, that her leg hurt. And then we realized that the thumb throttle, the throttle on the handlebars of the snowmobile, as well as the windshield and all that, was broken. Like, it was completely broken off. We're like, how did the throttle break off? Her leg, her thigh, when it did a front flip, her thigh hit the handlebar so hard that it snapped the throttle off. So we get to the bar, you know, she gets like her snow pants off or whatever, and like she shows her leg, and her entire leg from hip to knee is a giant bruise. How her leg didn't snap in half, I do not know. She did a front flip with a snowmobile, broke the throttle off with her thigh against the thing. I don't know what happened, but it's just insane. It's just insane. So anyways, we're at the bar. Everything's fine. We made it. And that brings us to the next thing. She feels bad because she knows that my friend is supposed to propose to my cousin, and we are now not going to make it to the proposal destination, which is my cabin. We're no longer going to make it there. So what are we going to do? She's like, it's all my fault. Like, you know, she's keeping it low key because my cousin, the girl who's getting proposed to, doesn't know that she's going to get proposed to, as one should not know. And she's like, oh my God, I messed it all up. It's all, I was like, it wasn't meant to be, you know, it's fine. Like, just, everything's fine. We get everything figured out. You know, I mean, there's not, you just got to roll with the punches at this point. Then we start taking the sleds back so we can go back to the cars. Then we can get the trailer, bring it back to the bar while they wait at the bar so we can pick up the broken sled and then reevaluate all of our lives, because it was clearly a mistake. We probably shouldn't have just thrown her on the sled. There's a lot of people in the wrong on that one, including myself. But, you know, the best way to learn is head first. So that's what we were going for. But obviously that just was not quite the move. Oh, jeez. But anyways, so we get back. It's a hell of a night. She's in pain. Her whole leg's bruised. Obviously she's in pain, but she also feels bad. We have a fire. It's still like -30 out. It's just horrible. And we're all around the fire. The guys are on the fire. And the girls are inside. They're like, you know, doing what girls do. They're inside. I didn't mean it. They're just gossiping, being girls, whatever. So we're talking around the fire. And we're like, dude, just do it, man. Like, everybody's a few drinks deep, but we're like, dude, you just gotta do it, man. You gotta pop the question. It didn't work out the way you wanted, but just pop the question, man. Just do it. So he's like, I don't know, it's not right, I don't want to. He's contemplating, him and Han, blah blah blah. And we're like, dude, you just have to do it. Just do it. Just get it done. And so we get the girls out there. Not all of them though. We get a couple of them out there, and we're telling them, because they are in on it too, and we're telling them, like, convince her to come out. Convince her to come out on a snowmobile ride. It's like 12 a.m. at this point, probably. It's pitch black, -30. Fire doesn't even want to stay freaking flowing because it's -30. And just like, come on, you gotta pop the question. Like, get her out here. She does not want to come out. They have to drag her out. She does not want to come out. And every time he's just like, it's not meant to be. She came out and she was like, I am not going on a snowmobile. She went back inside. Like, it was just not happening. Finally, like an hour later, after the girls being stupid obvious, probably way too obvious, they finally get her out on the snowmobile and ready for a ride. They go for a ride around the property, right? And they pull up and he's like, can you go check the ski? Like, something, can you go? I think there's a something stuck in it. At this point, so the snowmobile shut off, the headlights are on. She walks over into the headlights and is looking like under the snowmobile. I have my Bluetooth speaker. I play their song, and then he gets down on one knee and gives a little spiel, and we have it on film. I'll show the film, even though it's probably pitch black or whatever, but I'll have that in here. And he proposed. So that is how we made a horrible situation, well, a good situation that turned bad into good again, but still kind of bad. So, but it all worked out because she said yes and it was a happy ending. But it was just an insane trip. It was obviously nothing went as planned, but you'll have that sometimes. You got to roll with the punches. So I appreciate you guys listening to this story. Leave a comment, leave a like, let me know what you like, what you didn't like. I gotta work on talking to the camera. I gotta work on looking at the camera. I want to do a lot more like outside stuff and stuff like that, but I really do appreciate the view. A comment and a like would mean the world. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.